The two-day conference took place here at one of only a handful of museums in America devoted to the history of Muslims in the country. Scholars and museum curators discussed new research as well as efforts to increase teaching and museum exhibits on the subject.
The conference has come together bringing different scholars, historians, and collectors that have a focus and interest on telling America's Islamic story. So we brought people from around the country came together, and other Muslims museums that are in the United States to come together to network, to talk about and discuss issues, our challenges, and our success stories, as well as bringing out the scholars to talk about the history of Muslims in the Americas, not only just the United States, but throughout the Americas. And also there's a speaker that was going to talk about the early history of Muslim communities, like the early Syrian community that was up in North Dakota.
Public health expert Michael Saba spoke about the history of Syrian Muslims who immigrated to the Great Plains in the center of the United States toward the end of the 19th century.
The very first masjid in all of North America was in Ross, North Dakota, a small rural community in the prairies, brought by Muslims who came from Syria and Lebanon in the late 1800s. I'm also going to talk about the fact that Malcolm X's very famous conversion to universal Islam when he went in 1964 to Mecca for his pilgrimage started with a woman in South Dakota. It was a Muslim whose family came to the United States originally in the 1870s. They eventually moved to South Dakota, and she was a woman who had a great influence on the union of the Nation of Islam and Universal Islam, and worked with Malcolm X on the pilgrimage.
Up to 10% of the millions of Africans brought to America as slaves were Muslims. In the brutal conditions of slavery, they were not able to pass on their religion to their children. But written texts and Korans left by them have been discovered.
We have testimonies, not only from them, but from travelers, from slaveholders. We have the manuscript that they wrote, so we know that they continue to remain Muslims. Now, it was difficult to pass on the religion from one generation to the others.
Islam is now the fastest growing religion in America. That growth is fueled by both African Americans who have converted to the faith and immigrants from Muslim countries.
We have two congressmen who are African American, but they're also Muslim, Andre Carson and Keith Ellison. We have judges, we have teachers, we have college presidents. The Muslims have gone into the fabric of the society.
A large national museum of African American history is under construction here in Washington. Conference participants here said that since most American converts to Islam are black, the museum should help make a big contribution to the history of Islam in America when it opens next year.
Muslims are playing an ever greater role in American society, but much of their earlier history was stamped out and lost. Events like this are bringing together scholars who are working to reclaim and document that rich history. Burton Bolag, KSA2, Washington.